Hey, it's Coffin Comics. Jimmy here for Coffin Comics. This is the moment you've been waiting for. We've been hyping this up all week. We've got the one and only fan favorite, everyone's favorite, my favorite, your favorite. He's calling himself the Monster Mighty Moore, but I know him as the Mighty Monte Moore. Let's bring him on. Here he is, the Mighty Monster.
What's up, y'all?
Thank you so much.
I have a lot of nicknames over the years. It just comes with having a lot of M's in your name.
Seems like it. Yeah, I think. What's the other ones? Well, there's always your tagline. You always need more with Monte Moore.
Yeah, expect more. Yep. Certified more. Montiacs. Yeah.
For excitement.
Right. Exactly.
So, folks, as you're watching, you have any questions, shoot them our way. Monty's here to entertain.
Absolutely. I'm a trained art monkey.
But also, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time for joining us. We know you're super busy. I know you're working on some new images for Coffin, along with you're going to be heading out here to Arizona soon. You've got that art fair, art festival. I don't even know what you call that. It's going to go for months.
Yeah, it's a 75-day art show, fine art show, and I bring out my Western and wildlife art. But you know, we've also had the opportunity to do a lot of cool Coffin stuff while I've been down there every year. So we did a couple of artist celebrations. We had Fiend Fest this year. We've got Swarm Fest. So I was born in Phoenix, and so for me, it's always like coming home.
So here's the flyer. Yeah, Fine Art Expo. So that's just amazing how it's from January 14th. That's next weekend. So you're coming up really soon, and to March 27th. That is wild.
Yeah, 10 weeks. It's a biggie.
So you're there every day on the floor?
Yeah. So the cool thing about that show, unlike a normal trade show, is that your booth is also a studio. So there's 100 artists working live, from glass blowers to painters, sculptures, bronze artists, jewelers, myself. And so I'm there drawing and painting every day. So it's not that I'm not working. And there you go. That's right where we're at. We're there in North Scottsdale. And it's really only about 25, 30 minutes from the heart of all coolness, which is the Coffin Comics HQ.
That's what makes it so much better. So speaking of, well, that's cool that you're actually doing the art there as a studio. That makes sense while you're there that long, because otherwise that's a lot of standing on your feet.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting most of the day.
So I saw you posted this one right here. This is very cool.
Thank you.
What can you tell us about?
So that's a metal print, and I've been doing a lot of these kind of fine art metal prints. So it's printed directly on aluminum. And then on that particular frame that I was building, that's Colorado beetle kill pine, when we had a lot of death of the trees from beetle kill. So that's where the gray striations, almost marbling, comes in. And then what I did was we had to rip off part of the little skinny pieces that you see there, because it was a tongue and groove wood. But I'm kind of like the Native Americans who used every part of the buffalo. So even when I cut off scraps, I almost always add them back into a frame or something like that. So I created kind of, you know, what I thought looked a little bit like a Native American pattern on the side with those pieces. And I liked the coloration, how it matched the art. So I decided not to stain it at all. So that's just the raw wood.
Wow, that's raw. Yeah, because it looks like you actually did something with that. And here's another one.
Yep.
So this is, yeah, your art style is just it's so amazing to see everything you can do. It's just, it always blows me away. I always forget, like,
I try to just do a lot of diverse things. So I was making these frames yesterday, and same sort of thing. The leftover pieces there were other pieces that were just taken off of an edge. And so I'll just sometimes pull them out of the scrap pile, and I'll think, oh, well, what if I did something that was off kilter? So it almost looked like part of the frame was symmetrical, but then part of it was almost like the sticks of a travois, where the Native Americans would have carried people behind their horses, or an old piece of ghost town or something where things are falling down and it's off kilter. And so I attached those top sticks, if you will, to give it an older, just, I don't know, just something different.
Yeah, you're a true artist, because you take the frame and turn the frame into art. It's not just.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll come to a piece like this and I'll actually add real feathers. And so I get a lot of feathers from the Sworn Fiends, Josh and Jennifer Grimsley, who have a lot of turkeys and chickens and cool things. So they save all the feathers for me. And then a lot of times I'll come into the print itself and I'll attach it to the face of the art.
Speaking of that, attaching to the art, I pulled this out because it's just so cool not to. We need to talk about this.
Yeah, there we go.
So this, I don't know if folks can see, it's got the little extra.
It's got skulls and little red flowers, and the bits that are kind of glinting are attached to it. Yep.
Yeah. And this actually, we turned this into for the Morta Onslaught. It was actually turned into one of the the editions, which I'm pretty sure we're all sold out. I think that was. Oh, but this was an actual. Check it out. Even the sides, you can see the painting strokes came.
So I have a matching sister piece here.
Oh yes.
That I bequeath the painting you have there to the Coffin HQ. This is a piece that I haven't sold, and you can see the 3D elements added to the front.
Oh yeah, that's how you could show it off. Yeah, right there.
Yep. But one of the things that's actually cool, unique about this one is this is what's called a sound art canvas. This whole thing is a speaker. It's a Bluetooth speaker. So you hang this on the wall and it rocks out and it plays your music and nobody knows where the music is coming from. And so this was in the previous Hellwitch Kickstarter as one of this was a stretch goal item as a print or it came in one of the kind of upper tier later released editions.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That is so, yeah, it's just amazing. It keeps amazing me, all the different styles and the different, what do you call it? Platforms that you
media. Yeah. Different media. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'll do oil, acrylic, pencil, mixed media, colored pencil, marker. I have, the piece that I'm working on now is for a new series that, obviously Coffin hasn't debuted yet. And it's very different than what the fans would have seen in our previous two series, which the first full series we did, which was a year long, was Seasons in the Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second series, which was last year's series, was the Military Tribute series, which was a 5-part piece.
Oh yeah, amazing.
So we have a brand new series. I just finished number 2 in the series, but it has not come out yet. We cannot show it.
Oh, can't wait. Oh, it's exciting. Oh, and well, okay, looking behind you, I want to talk about this too. I forgot to grab an image of it, but you're doing some of the Star Wars.
There it is, right there.
The
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian ones. I started watching the
Book of Boba Fett. Yep.
Yeah, at the end they show those images, and it reminded me that you did some of those too, or not for the show, but for Disney.
Right.
And,
yeah, so most of theirs at the end of the show they're digital images that are probably over screenshots. Some of them might be previs art. So there's a few paintings that I've done that have been similar to a few of those scenes, but I guess the main difference is mine are all real paintings as opposed to digital creation. So I do the first 4 that I did were oil, and then the second 7 or 8 that I've done have been mixed media acrylics. So,
and what did Disney do with those? Do they sell them online?
Yeah, so you can. The licensee that I'm working for is Thomas Kincaid Studios, and they have 4 really big licenses with Marvel, DC, Disney, and Star Wars. And so I'm the exclusive artist for the Mandalorian collection. And so you can, fans can buy those at the Thomas Kincaid website. And then I'm hoping to be my own retailer and have my own separate website eventually that will be just my Mandalorian work. So that's in the works. It's just not out yet. But I do have the permission to sell my Mandalorian art prints at the Arizona Fine Art Expo. So for the first time ever at that show, I will have some of the big canvases you see behind me, which are your more high dollar framed pieces. And then we also have some pieces that are under $100 that are nice signed canvases. I usually do a little remark on the back And those I will also have at the show.
Of course, you're gonna have. Oh, that's awesome. That's why you're the monster.
Right? I'm like an octopus. I'm everywhere.
All right, I want to show you this picture. What can you tell us about this? I saw this. I was like, oh, okay. This, of course. But you do it all. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So in my kind of 20s through 30s, I did martial arts for almost 10 years. And that's one of my best friends there next to me, Judd Broadhurst. And we got our black belts together. And this was a day where obviously I've got a thing on that says I was a judge as well, but it looks like I'm wearing a couple of medals. So I really wasn't big into the competition. I wasn't the Cobra Kai guy. I was more interested in the history and the mystique. You grow up with Bruce Lee movies and Chuck Norris and things like that. And when I was in college, I remember there were several things I told myself when I'm out of college that I want to do. And one was learn to play the guitar, which I never became very good at, but I took lessons for 2 or 3 years. And then another was I said, now's the time. I'm single. I don't have a family or kids. And so I found myself a school, which was called Sunday School. And I was there, like a lot of people, 4 or 5, sometimes 6 nights a week training. And it took me 3 to 5 years, and I got my black belt. And I achieved what I wanted. And about that same time, my career really started taking off. And so I had to dedicate more time to my art, working in the evenings. So, I stepped aside from martial arts and the guitar. I haven't played the guitar in 10 years either. So, but it wasn't my forte. You can't be great at everything. And I decided to, keep my focus on art, because usually once you get your black belt in martial arts, they want you to open a school in that discipline to help, reach more people. And so I was being courted to open my own school. And I was like, hey, that's not why I'm here. I'm here for me. I'm not really here, for everybody else to spread that. I wanted to spread my art, not martial arts. So, yeah.
So
but I can tell you, if I were to kick you, it would hurt pretty bad.
I'm sure. That's why you're such a badass. Yeah, of course. So what do you think you learned since you've been in there for 10 years? What from martial arts helped you? Did anything like correlate to the art world, to helping you with art? Is there anything in that you learned from that discipline?
There's a lot of things from the typical kind of stuff, like how to treat your elders and respect, but also how to keep an eye out for other people. But in an art standpoint, I would say, sort of leveling up. Like, how do I get to the next level? And so your art career is the same way, right? You start out and, you see people post in a Facebook group, hey, I'm open for commissions, right? And you see the artwork and you're like, yeah, okay, it's cool artwork. And you're that white belt, yellow belt level, right? People aren't showing up to give you thousands of dollars, right? Because you're not that black belt artist. You're not Frank Cho or Joe Jusko or, a host of other really top tier artists that have paid their dues up the ranks. And when you see what their artwork sells for, you're like, yeah, they're a black belt, they're badass. So for me, I would say that working hard to get to that next level in art and martial arts is very much the same. It's just like you don't get to wear around a belt,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, just leveling up through art. Yeah, that's such a great analogy on that. So you are the black belt artist of
right. Well, there's some other similarities in the sense that, like, I chose a martial arts form that was multifaceted. And so Taekwondo is very feet oriented. It's like 80% kicks and, maybe 20% punches. And I chose a discipline that was like a quarter punching, a quarter kicking, a quarter grappling, and a quarter weapons. So it was really well rounded. You got to use, 5 or 10 different weapons and say, oh, well, I have to pass a test for bow staff or nunchucks or sai or whatever. And so I'm kind of that way with art as well. And that's probably why I like doing airbrush and painting and drawing, and I'll do sculpture and I do screenwriting and I publish my own books because I like to be well versed. I might be a master of none, but I like to be a journeyman, experienced in all these different forms.
That's fascinating. Yeah, because I remember we had a conversation before about that. Yeah, and how, yeah, wow, it all ties together with the through that experience and that. That is very cool. Hey, so we got Jesus saying first time he's going to Swornfest. So
Oh, right on.
Swornfest, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna have a great time. Great time. This will be a next level up for Swornfest because Fiendfest was a lot smaller, limited tickets, smaller room and locale. So that part's leveling up as well.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, before we get to Jason's, so we're already talking about we're getting all the structure together for Swornfest, and we checked out the location. Yeah, it's a bigger location than before. It's got a theater, so we can do when we do the hard rock karaoke on Saturday night, and it's got like a bigger hall.
Is it more of a giant ballroom kind of thing, or is it more exhibit hall kind of space with the big ceilings and?
It's got both. It's got exhibit hall where most of the stuff's gonna be happening, and then it's got just like long open hallways where people can hang out, catch your breath, and then across the room, then they have the bigger auditorium.
Okay. Yeah, because I meant to reach out to Brian this week and ask him kind of like what, as an artist who's attending, like what kind of space I should plan for, because I don't really know what to expect. So you have a couple of banners behind you, and I'm like, well, should I bring down banners? Do I need to bring tables? So
that'd be awesome if you brought your store, if you had enough room to put your like
the big one.
Yeah.
Well, you never know what I'll show up with.
Like the Monte studio. But I know Francisco's working on the layout, so once that's complete, then you'll hear about that.
Right on.
So yeah, this is so exciting for Swornfest. Jason Coates saying, lots of recent deliveries from Triple M. Many of them. Many thanks for those Coffin AP editions. Woo, yeah.
So one of the things I'm sure many people know because they've seen some posts in Swarm Nation that Jason is a big backer of the original art Swarm Nation, a lot of those covers, and so when somebody buys an original piece of art, if it's published on a cover, then I almost always send them a signed AP edition as a thank you as part of that purchase. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So you kind of need the book to kind of go, oh, that's a neat painting. You go, yeah, that was the cover. It's right there.
Always expect more with Monte Moore.
Right. Well, that's how I roll. And I don't always tell people when I send something. It just shows up and they go, what did I get for Monte?
Always stacking the value. That's why everyone loves you so much.
Right. Well, I learned that from Coffin. Over deliver, and you'll never have people say bad things about you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Perry saying Monte, Team Monte, yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Perry. Make sure to play Monte's intro music more by Sisters of Mercy.
Oh,
more. You can also go Billy Idol. She screamed in the middle of the night. Oh, yeah. More. That is a great song, though. And when in my clubbing days, in my 20s, where I was a frequent club goer to a lot of the underground and dance clubs and metal and stuff, and that particular song, I used to just throw down to.
I could just imagine those back in the day with the Wild Monte.
Yes, I was a prolific dancer. Believe it or not, yeah. So there was, people would say, "Oh yeah, your art," or they would know me because I skied a lot. I grew up in Idaho, and so that I would say, "Well, there's 3 things I'm pretty good at," and it was skiing, dancing, and art. That was kind of my jam. But I don't really dance a whole lot anymore, just because you're 50 and you're not clubbing. But I believe it or not, and this will make you laugh, and you can laugh, but I do have a couple of awards and trophies from dance contests where you would be somewhere and they'd be like, "Oh, we're having a dance contest. We're giving away a pair of Yamaha speakers." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm winning that shit." And I did.
Of course you did, man. Were you also doing martial arts at the time?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm
And
assuming
there's some correlation. Not that I was out there dancing with karate moves, but sometimes if you were drinking with your friends who were also all black belts, some of that stuff came out. You just couldn't help it. We had a good time.
Oh, here's a message from Time of Dying. I have some of the Native American girl art print hanging on my wall from Monte.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. So in the previous Kickstarter, that was for Blood and Bullets, which was the vampire western. One of the tier that went to my philanthropy tier, where we donate the funds from that tier, went to the Native American Heritage Fund. And the print that some of the backers got was the called Nature's Kingdom, that had some of my wildlife art and that same piece that you showed earlier.
Oh yeah, speaking of, that's right, I grabbed a couple of these too. Speaking of the Wild West art, which I love that you do, we've got this one. What can you tell us about this?
So this is, believe it or not, this is my most successful piece of art of all time. When I say most successful, it just means, hey, Haley, please get your butt to Australia. It means that I've sold more prints and made more money off of these Stagecoach pieces than I have any single piece of pop culture art, because they're also more high dollar now. This particular one you're showing here, that's a 4-foot version, but I sell them all the way up to fully framed 6 to 7 feet. And the one you're showing here, it says Fiddletown Stage Lines. And this was the very first customer who said, hey, if I bought that print, could you have it custom printed and put my hometown and the stage that would have run through there? And I looked at him and I thought, well, yeah, I've never done that, but I guess I could do that. And it kicked off a whole thing where I've probably sold 30 of these, all the way up to the big 7-footers. I just got in 4 today that are for customers. And usually they'll either put their family name, their company name, or even their pet's name, or their hometown on the stage line.
What can you tell us about the frame? Are the frames different all the time when you?
Every one is unique. So this particular one, the guy sent me barnwood from his own ranch.
Oh, wow.
And those hinges, the big hinges, came off of the barn that he knocked down. And then he asked for me to add a gun rack to the bottom. So the 2 hooks on the bottom that are the spikes was where he was going to hang his father's rifle.
Wow.
And so it was a very personal piece for him, in that the both the wood and the hinges had heritage to it. And so I've even done it where I've made the frame look like it has the customer's brand on the frame, or digitally I'll add the brand to the horses. And then I actually have 2 customers who have signed up to take the art to the next level, and they're going to actually be drawn into the art. So they will send me photos of them in their cowboy hats, probably. And then I will do a portrait. They will own and get that portrait. I'll scan it and I'll Photoshop it into the art, and they will be the ones driving the coach.
That sounds like something we do in comic books, but you're doing that on the high art level.
Very, yeah, pretty high end, because you know, a lot of times if they're doing it with comics, they may not get the original art as part of it, or they're not necessarily posing specifically for it. But in this particular instance, they're getting the print, they're getting the original art, and it's being tailored to them, where rather than going, oh, I think that looks like Michael Huffman, I mean, it's got to be dead on. And one of the cool parts is that the customer is having himself put on the Stagecoach, and then his father and his grandfather, who's no longer alive, are going to be commemorated into the art. So they will have 3 generations of cowboys in that piece of art. So it's going to be a real conversation piece.
That's awesome. Yeah, family keepsake for sure. And let's look at one more. I know you got to get going. We got a few minutes left. Here's another one. Oh no, this is one we already looked at. There's another one you just posted. Yeah, Tombstone.
Yeah, so that one, the wood came from an old gate that I knocked down, and the hand that's on the right, you can see what the wood started out as. So using stain and a wire brush, and then my airbrush, believe it or not, some of the veining and the coloration to make it look burned and old, I actually airbrush the wood to age it and make it match the art. And then I'll come to where like the old holes and stuff are, and I'll make them look more burned and saturated than maybe they were. So you can see that piece of gray wood on the right, what I started out with, that's kind of your blank canvas. And then to this frame, I will add like a Tombstone badge, some bullets, and then there'll be 2 replica pistols in opposite corners. And then I'll take gun belt leather and I'll trim it all the way around the frame. So the frame, might have several hours or more of work in it as well. And it becomes a one of a kind piece that's as much of a statement as the art is.
Yeah, that's why you're the black belt artist. Arizona, yeah, unbelievable, crazy. Yeah, we got to have you out and do another. I don't know if you folks seen it. Monte did some live art demonstrations. You did some paintings here at HQ before.
Actually, the one that I showed earlier started out there live at the HQ, as well as one of the first pieces that I did in this style, which turned into the Cascade edition of Lady Death, where she also had the tattoo of La Muerta on her arm. And so that piece started out in the airbrushing stage there at HQ as a demo. And trying to remember, I think one of them might have been during one of the, like a Crucial Con.
Yeah, it was like I think the first Crucial Con we ever did.
Exactly. And that was right when COVID was first hitting, and everybody decided to stay home. And so Brian said, hey, we're going to do our own thing in-house. No Emerald City Con. And really that kind of showed how much the fans showed up to support those events, kind of as a paradigm shift in the industry in many ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like, it's just like everything, the need and the technology just formed together, and then.
Yeah. And you already have the ability to do it, but to then offer those exclusive editions, unique things, and people like Haley and people all over the world can take part, and even if they're not able to travel. Ace says he's got that Cascade print right on his wall. Right on, my man.
Right. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Ace, what's up? And then here's that comment.
That's cool because to me, I know how much great art is in the Coffin archives. I mean, it's hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of art. So when people say they have my art on their wall, it's a really big compliment. It's kind of like getting a tattoo of your art, because there's such a wide variety of what you can do. And so when yours makes the cut, that makes me feel really good.
And yeah, another reason why you're so great, you're humble as well, and we appreciate that. I mean,
I try, because without the fans and without the support of collectors and people like Jason or so many others, you can't make this all work, right? You need the publisher, you need the writer, you need the printers, you need the artists. And when everybody does their part, it works really well. And if I wasn't selling my original art, people weren't buying the prints, we wouldn't be able to keep, the band going,
Awesome. All right. So I guess we will let you go. It's been a half hour. Time flies. Thank you so much for spending your time. I know you're getting ready to go out to the Arizona Expo.
2 days. I'll be headed to 12-hour drive to head south, and I will be there for 75 days. So people can come visit. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of fiends in town for Sworn Fest. And you probably have other things that are planned that haven't been announced yet, I'm sure, in the spring.
That is true. Brian always got stuff percolating, and that's once again just blows my mind you're there for that long. That is so,
well amazing. I will say that I'm happy that this year I'm not renting a smaller apartment that's the size of my studio, so I do actually have a house there now, so I have a more functioning studio. I have a garage that I can build frames in and things like that, so I'll have a little bit more of the creature comforts, which will also allow me to be actually more efficient. He says it's a well-oiled machine, and Haley says she will one day own the Hear Me Roar original.
Oh, nice. Yeah, can't wait to see you live in person at Sworn Fest, along with everyone else. I guess any final words as we sign off here?
just thanks for everybody for their support of not only the Coffin Kickstarters and all those products, but as well as my own. First couple of Kickstarters were very well supported and even fulfilled by Coffin. So thank you to Sworn Nation and to all the fiends. We're really hoping that people can really get together in a safe way for Sworn Fest. For those who were able to make it, we're looking forward to seeing you and hopefully tipping one back together.
Awesome. All right. We'll call it end. Thank you, everyone. We're sworn to you, and we're going to end with this Sworn Fest commercial. Yeah. See ya.
Right on.
Swornfest, Swornfest, Swornfest. Swornfest, the global gathering for Coffin Comics fiends and the Sworn, featuring exclusive parties, artists, signings, commissions, panels, beer, food, coffee, alcohol, tours of HQV2, trading posts, CGC, friendship, community, camaraderie, shenanigans, insanity, and more.
Plan ahead. Be there.
Tickets and details on sale now at coffincomics.net/Swornfest.
Presented by Coffin Comics. Swornfest, Swornfest.
February 25th through 27th, 2022, Mesa, Arizona, USA.
Sworn.